Tonight, heaven will send you a sign. Watch closely. This is not just a phrase. It is an invitation to awareness. Every so often in life, there comes a moment when something greater than yourself tries to whisper into your soul. These signs may appear subtle, a feeling you cannot explain, a dream that lingers in your heart, a coincidence that feels too exact to ignore. They arrive as gentle reminders that you are not walking this path alone, that your journey is being watched over, and that you are part of a story much larger than your own thoughts. Tonight is one of those moments. You are here, listening, not by accident but by alignment. The universe, heaven, or whatever name you give to the divine presence, wants your eyes open, your heart still, and your spirit attentive. And before we go deeper, I ask you something important. Stay with me until the end of this video. Do not rush. Do not skip. Allow yourself to receive the full energy of what is being shared here. And as you watch, write down in the comments your warmest wishes, the purest desires of your heart, followed by the number 77. Do this once, with sincerity. This is the moment where intention meets energy, where your wish joins the vibration of countless others, and where the universe is stirred by the resonance of hope. When you write, imagine your words rising like sparks of light. This chapter is about wishes coming true and energizing the universe, and your participation is part of that flow. Now let us turn our full attention back to the sign itself. What does it mean to say, "Tonight, heaven will send you a sign"? It does not always mean you will see a shining star fall across the sky or hear an angel's voice with your ears. More often, it means a signal will arrive in your personal language of experience. For some, it may be a sudden thought that clears confusion. For others, it may be an unexpected message, a person reaching out, a song that seems to play exactly when you need it. These are not random. They are threads woven into your life by a hand beyond human sight. To notice them, you must soften the noise of worry and expectation and instead lean into presence. Watching closely is not about straining your eyes outward, but opening your perception inward. When you look back at your life, there are likely already moments when you felt guided. Perhaps a decision you almost made but didn't, and later you saw how it protected you. Or a stranger's kindness that arrived when you were at your lowest point. Perhaps even a dream that felt so vivid it shaped your choices. These are not coincidences in the cold sense of the word. They are reminders that your life is entangled with the unseen. Heaven does not operate with loud interruptions. It whispers in ways that require your trust. And tonight, that whisper is closer than ever. To prepare yourself, you must be willing to trust that meaning exists. Skepticism has its place, but if your heart is closed, the sign may pass by unnoticed. Tonight, ask yourself, am I ready to see? Am I open to believing that the universe holds more wisdom than I do? Am I willing to pause long enough for something subtle to reach me? These questions are not about blind faith, but about readiness. Signs do not convince the unwilling, they awaken the willing. There is also something important to understand about timing. Heaven's signs do not always answer the exact question you are asking, in the exact moment you ask it. Instead, they appear when the moment is ripe, when your spirit is prepared to receive without resistance. This is why tonight is special. The very fact that you are here hearing these words is itself a sign. You have aligned with this message not by chance but by design, and it means that the layers of your soul are already tuning themselves to receive what is coming next. As you step into this night, notice everything with gentleness. The sky, the silence, the patterns of your thoughts. Notice how even your emotions rise and fall like waves. In those details, heaven speaks. Maybe you will see repeating numbers. Maybe you will feel a sudden warmth. Maybe you will encounter an old memory resurfacing with new meaning. Do not dismiss these things as trivial. Signs are coded in the ordinary so that only the attentive recognize them. It is your willingness to look closely that transforms the common into the sacred. The beauty of receiving a sign is not just in the sign itself, but in what it awakens in you. A sign is like a key turning inside a lock. It opens something within you that was waiting. It reminds you of your purpose, your resilience, and your place in a vast, interconnected design. Tonight's sign will not only point you towards something, but also remind you of who you already are. Imagine for a moment that heaven is looking directly at you. Imagine that the unseen presence has chosen this night to remind you of your worth. Would you not watch carefully? Would you not set aside your distractions for a while, just to remain present? This is what you are invited to do, because signs are not only guidance, they are acts of love. They say, you are remembered, you are seen, you are not forgotten. So as the night unfolds, stay calm. If you see something unusual, breathe it in. If you feel a sudden emotion, let it pass through without judgment. If a thought repeats itself, pause and ask what it may be pointing toward. The sign you are waiting for may not look like what you imagine, but it will feel like recognition when it comes. The night has always been a canvas for mystery. When the sun sets and the noise of daily life slows, something inside of us awakens. We become more sensitive to silence, to subtle movements, to whispers that are usually drowned out by the busyness of the world. This is why so many signs come at night. The mind softens, the heart expands, and the soul leans closer to the unseen. To recognize heaven's message, you must first recognize the sacredness of stillness. Tonight is not simply another evening, it is an invitation to pause. In that pause, meaning is revealed. Think back to ancient times when people would gather under the stars. They did not see the night sky as empty. They saw it as full of language. The stars were not random dots of light, but symbols, messages, patterns that reflected something greater. In many traditions, the night sky was seen as the bridge between heaven and earth, a vast, luminous manuscript where the divine wrote messages for those who dared to look. In the same way, tonight you are being asked to look, not just with your eyes, but with your inner awareness. A sign might appear in the stars above, or it might appear in the stars inside you. Sudden clarity, sudden peace, sudden knowing. What separates those who notice from those who do not is attention. Attention is a kind of devotion. If you walk through life with your eyes glazed by distractions, you may miss the beauty that is right in front of you. But when you bring your focus to the moment, life becomes radiant. A bird's call may carry meaning. The timing of a phone call may feel charged with purpose. Even the way the wind brushes against your skin may remind you that something is communicating with you constantly. The sign from heaven is rarely in the extraordinary. It is hidden in the ordinary, waiting for you to notice. There is also a sense of preparation that comes with receiving a sign. Sometimes heaven sends you a message not for the moment you are in, but for the journey you are about to step into. You may not understand the full meaning right away. You may even question whether it was real. But days, weeks, or even years later, you will look back and realize that tonight was a turning point. This is the nature of signs. They plant seeds. A seed is small, almost invisible, but it carries within it the possibility of a tree. In the same way, tonight's sign may seem small, but its meaning will grow inside you until one day it becomes undeniable. Another layer of this mystery is trust. Trust is the soil in which the seed of a sign takes root. If you doubt everything, if you dismiss every nudge as random, the seed cannot grow. But if you allow yourself to trust, not blindly, but with openness, you give the sign permission to unfold its meaning in your life. This does not mean you have to abandon reason or question your sanity. It simply means you hold a space in your heart for possibility. You say to yourself, perhaps this is not coincidence. Perhaps this is guidance. That simple shift in perspective can change your entire experience. It is also worth remembering that signs are not always pleasant. Sometimes they come as disruptions, endings, or moments of discomfort. Heaven's messages are not only about reassurance, they are also about direction. And sometimes, to redirect your path, a sign must shake you awake. If tonight you encounter something that unsettles you, do not immediately reject it. Ask yourself, what is this showing me? What am I being asked to release or to embrace? Even the painful signs are wrapped in wisdom. The key is to see beyond the surface. Imagine for a moment that tonight a dream visits you. In that dream, you walk through a door into a place you have never seen before, but it feels familiar. You wake up, and the dream lingers. That is a sign. Or imagine you are sitting quietly, and suddenly someone you have not thought of in years comes to mind. Later, that person reaches out to you. That is a sign. Or perhaps you notice repeating numbers on a clock, or you hear the same phrase in different places, or you feel a warmth in your chest when you think of a certain decision. All of these are heaven's ways of leaning closer, whispering, nudging you toward alignment. The act of watching closely is an act of reverence. It is saying, I know life is more than what it appears to be. It is saying, I am ready to hear what is being spoken beyond words. And when you posture yourself this way, the entire world becomes alive with communication. The night breeze becomes a messenger, the moon a guide, the silence a teacher. The very moment you decide to watch closely, you already step into alignment with the divine rhythm. Tonight is a threshold, a thin place between the seen and unseen, and you are standing at its edge. So remain open. As you listen, as you breathe, as you wait, know that you are not waiting in vain. The sign is already moving toward you. All you must do is be present when it arrives. Heaven does not waste its messages. It knows who is ready, and tonight it has chosen you. When you prepare yourself to receive, something within you begins to shift. It is not only about the sign itself, but also about the transformation that comes from expecting it. Expectation is a powerful force. When you expect something sacred, you tune your awareness to a higher frequency. It is like adjusting a radio until the static clears and the music comes through. Tonight, your expectation clears the static of doubt and fear, making space for the quiet melody of heaven's voice. Many people wait for life to shout at them, but heaven rarely shouts. Instead, it sends ripples. The moment you decide to notice, you realize the ripples have always been there. Perhaps you have already felt them in your life. A gut feeling that turned out to be true. An inner voice that told you to wait or to act at just the right time. Tonight, those ripples may come stronger, more visible. But remember, the sign is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to guide you. If the universe shouted, you might run, but a whisper draws you closer, makes you lean in, makes you choose to pay attention. There is also something deeply personal about signs. The way heaven speaks to you will not always be the way it speaks to others. What you recognize as sacred, another may overlook, and what awakens your heart may seem ordinary to someone else. This is why you cannot rely on others to validate what you have experienced. If it touched your spirit, if it gave you clarity or peace, then it was meant for you. Do not let someone else's disbelief rob you of your own gift. The sign comes with your name on it, written in invisible ink, visible only to the one it was sent to. Tonight, as you keep watch, notice how your body feels. Notice your emotions. Notice if your thoughts quiet for a moment, or if a sudden calmness wraps around you. Signs are not only visual. Sometimes they are felt. Sometimes they come as a sudden lift of your burdens, a wave of peace that you cannot explain. That is heaven's way of saying, I am near. I see you. Other times, they come as a stirring, an unshakable sense that something is about to happen, that a change is arriving. This too is a sign. There is an old truth. The universe speaks in symbols: fire, water, wind, numbers, animals, dreams. All of them can carry meaning. If tonight you encounter a symbol, pause and ask what it awakens in you. The symbol itself may not be the message. The message may be the feeling or thought that rises when you encounter it. For example, if you see a bird flying across your path, the sign is not only the bird itself, but what it stirs in your memory: freedom, hope, new beginnings. Heaven does not hand you a dictionary of meanings. It invites you to listen to your own soul's language. There is also timing in how signs arrive. Sometimes they show up right before you need courage. Sometimes they arrive after a season of waiting, just as you were about to give up. And sometimes they appear when you least expect them, in the middle of ordinary routines, as if to remind you that the divine is not separate from your daily life. It is not only in the temples, or on the mountaintops, or in the sacred texts. It is here, in the ordinary rhythm of your breathing, in the quiet of your room tonight, in the passing of time itself. Heaven hides in plain sight, and your role is simply to notice. Consider for a moment what a sign does to your spirit. It does not simply tell you something. It awakens something already inside you. Signs remind you that you are more than your doubts. They stir courage, hope, patience, or forgiveness. They call you to align your choices with your higher self. This is why signs are not random decorations in life. They are invitations to transformation. Heaven does not waste its language on meaningless gestures. Every nudge, every symbol, every whisper is designed to move you one step closer to who you are meant to be. Tonight's sign may be gentle, but its impact will not be small. Even the softest message can echo through your whole being if you let it. So when it comes, hold it gently. Write it down, reflect on it, return to it when doubt creeps in. A sign is not only for the moment. It is a torch you can carry into darker times, a reminder that guidance is never far away. Above all, remember this: heaven does not send you signs to confuse you, but to remind you that you are guided, that you are seen, that you are deeply loved. The world may be uncertain, your path may feel unclear, but tonight you are not walking alone. The sign that comes to you is a thread in the larger design, connecting you to the unseen tapestry of care that surrounds your life. One of the most profound truths about signs is that they often appear when you are standing at a crossroads. Life places you in moments of choice, decisions that seem small but ripple out into your destiny. At those times, you may feel uncertain, torn between fear and hope, between staying in the familiar and stepping into the unknown. It is in those delicate spaces that heaven leans close. The sign you receive tonight may be the very reassurance you need to take a step forward, to trust that even if the ground feels shaky, you will not fall. Think of how often you have carried questions within you. Questions you did not voice to anyone, questions you thought only you carried. And yet, a song on the radio seemed to answer it, or a stranger's words echoed your private thoughts, or a sudden phrase appeared in a book, or a passing conversation that spoke directly to your heart. How can such things be explained by randomness alone? They cannot. They are threads in the unseen fabric, showing you that heaven listens not only to what you say aloud, but also to what you whisper within yourself. Tonight, remain aware of those subtle responses. Your unspoken questions are not ignored. There is also something important about humility when it comes to receiving signs. If you demand them with arrogance, as proof or entertainment, you may not notice anything. But if you open your heart in humility, acknowledging that guidance is a gift, then the smallest moment can become radiant with meaning. A candle flame flickering unexpectedly, a breeze at the right moment, the silence between sounds. All can carry whispers when received with reverence. Humility sharpens your spiritual sight. It teaches you to value the small, to see that the infinite can live inside the simplest gesture. Tonight's sign may come as alignment. Perhaps you have been wrestling with a decision, wondering which direction to go. Then, without forcing it, a sense of peace arrives when you think of one path, while the other feels heavy. That is not coincidence. It is heaven's way of speaking through your inner compass. Pay attention to where peace gathers, to where lightness appears. These are often the markers of divine direction. Do not ignore them, for they are as valid as words written on a page. You may also notice repetition tonight. Signs often repeat themselves to make sure you pay attention. If you see or hear something multiple times, an image, a number, a phrase, do not brush it off. Repetition is heaven's way of underlining the message. It says, "Do not miss this. It matters." What repeats itself in your awareness carries weight. Reflect on it, sit with it, ask yourself what it is pointing toward. And remember, signs are not only for your benefit. Sometimes they arrive so that you may guide or encourage someone else. Heaven may send you a message tonight, not only to reassure you, but also to equip you to speak life into another person's heart. Do not be surprised if, after you notice something, you suddenly feel the urge to share it with someone who needs it. Signs multiply when they are given away. What was a light for you can become a lantern for another. Consider the deeper purpose of signs. They are not just about the moment, they are about building trust between you and the divine. Each time you notice a sign and allow it to guide you, your trust grows. Over time, you begin to live not in fear or confusion, but in alignment. You begin to sense that even when you cannot see the whole path, you are not lost. Each sign is like a stone on a hidden staircase. Alone, it may not reveal much, but step by step, they carry you upward, closer to clarity. Tonight is one more stone on that staircase. Let your heart rest in this truth. Heaven is not silent. It is not distant. It is speaking constantly, but we must tune ourselves to hear. The sign you receive tonight may feel small, but it carries the weight of love itself, and that is why it matters. For love is never random, and guidance is never wasted. Every sign is a thread, pulling you gently into alignment with who you were always meant to be. There is a tenderness in how heaven communicates, one that mirrors the way a parent guides a child. It does not force, it does not overwhelm, it does not demand. Instead, it nudges, it whispers, it gently turns your head toward what you might have overlooked. If tonight you experience even the faintest sense that something is drawing your attention, treat it with respect. Do not dismiss it as imagination too quickly. Signs often arrive dressed in simplicity, because simplicity pierces the heart more easily than grandeur. The quiet words spoken at the right moment can change a life more than the loudest shout. Think of the times in your life when you felt at a breaking point. And then, just when you thought you could not continue, something shifted. Perhaps you received a message from someone you hadn't spoken to in years. Perhaps you opened a book and found a line that felt as though it had been written just for you. Perhaps a dream gave you courage to wake up the next day with new strength. Those were not accidents. They were signs given to you when you needed them most. Tonight is another one of those moments waiting to unfold. Your role is not to chase it, but to notice it. There is also beauty in the timing of signs. Sometimes they arrive just as you are about to surrender, to give up on something you've been holding on to. That is no mistake. Heaven waits for the moment when your heart is most open, when your defenses are lowered, when you are ready to hear what you would not have heard before. That is why tonight matters. You are ready now in a way you may not have been yesterday or last week or last year. The sign comes when the soil of your heart has softened enough for it to take root. Another important truth: signs are not always clear immediately. Some unfold over time, like a painting slowly revealing its image. You may notice something tonight, and its meaning may not strike you right away. But weeks later, in a new situation, you will suddenly understand. The memory of tonight will return, and the threads will connect. Trust that clarity will come in its own time. Do not rush it. Heaven does not waste words. It simply allows them to bloom when the season is right. This is why patience is vital. Many people dismiss signs because they expect instant understanding. But signs are layered. They may hold meaning you cannot yet see, because you have not yet stepped into the chapter where that meaning applies. Be patient. Write down what you noticed tonight. Keep it close and revisit it later. You may be surprised by how perfectly it fits when the right moment arrives. And as you wait, allow gratitude to guide you. Gratitude is like opening a window for more light to enter. When you thank heaven for even the smallest sign, you create space for more to flow. Gratitude tells the universe, I see what you are doing. I honor it. I welcome more. This shift in attitude transforms your life into a dialogue rather than a monologue. Instead of feeling alone in your questions, you begin to sense you are in conversation with something far greater. Tonight is an opportunity to step into that dialogue with awareness. Imagine this: you are walking through a dark forest, unsure of the path. Then, suddenly, a lantern appears ahead of you. It does not show you the entire journey, but it gives enough light for the next step. That lantern is a sign. It does not answer every question, but it tells you where to place your foot now. Over time, as more lanterns appear, you realize you were never abandoned in the forest. The signs were always there, waiting for you to trust them. Tonight's sign is one of those lanterns, one of the lights that will carry you forward. So breathe deeply, open your heart, and remain watchful. The night is alive with meaning. The stars above you, the silence around you, the rhythm of your own breath, all of it is a backdrop against which heaven is preparing to write. The sign will come, not by accident, not by coincidence, but by design. And when it does, you will know, not with your mind alone, but with your whole being, that heaven has spoken. There is a sacred balance in the way signs arrive. They do not come to control your choices, but to remind you that you are never making those choices alone. Guidance is not about erasing your free will. It is about giving you light so that your free will does not walk in darkness. Tonight, as you prepare to notice what heaven places before you, remember that you still hold the pen in your hand. The sign is not the story itself. It is the ink that helps you write it more clearly. Sometimes, the sign is a confirmation. Perhaps you have already been leaning toward a decision, and deep down you know it is the right one. Then, tonight, something happens that affirms your inner knowing. It could be a conversation, a moment of silence, a dream, or even a sudden wave of peace. That is heaven saying yes. Trust this. Confirmation signs are like gentle nods, encouraging you to step where your soul was already guiding you. Other times, the sign is a redirection. It arrives when you are walking a path that may lead to harm, or emptiness, or unnecessary struggle. In those moments, the sign may feel uncomfortable. It may come as an obstacle, as something falling apart, or as a sudden inner resistance to what you thought you wanted. Though it may frustrate you in the moment, it is still love. Redirection is a sign that heaven sees farther than you do and is steering you towards something better. Tonight, if what you encounter feels like a closed door, do not despair. Closed doors are as much signs as open ones, and then there are awakening signs, moments that do not point to a specific decision, but instead awaken you to a larger reality. They remind you that your life is part of something infinite. They stir your spirit out of sleep and into awareness. You may suddenly feel awe at the night sky, or deep gratitude for simply being alive, or a renewed sense of connection to everything around you. Awakening signs do not just guide you, they expand you. Tonight you may encounter one of these, and if you do, let it wash over you fully. Consider how a sign changes the way you carry yourself. Before noticing it, you may feel heavy, lost, or uncertain. After receiving it, even if nothing outward has changed, you feel lighter, steadier, more hopeful. That is the power of alignment. The outer world may still look the same, but your inner world has shifted, and from that shift, everything else begins to follow. Tonight's sign, no matter how subtle, has the potential to create that shift. There is also responsibility in receiving a sign. It is not simply for your comfort. It is also a call to trust, a call to move forward, a call to release fear. Heaven does not send signs just to decorate your life with mystery. They are purposeful, always leading you toward growth. If tonight you receive a message that challenges you, ask yourself not only what it means, but what it requires of you. Perhaps it calls you to forgive, or to begin again, or to let go of something you have held too tightly. Whatever it is, know that the sign is both a gift and an invitation. Signs also carry a rhythm. Once you notice one, you will likely notice more. This is not because heaven suddenly began to speak, but because your awareness has opened. It is like tuning into a frequency you did not realize was always broadcasting. The more you notice, the clearer it becomes. And as it becomes clearer, your trust deepens. You no longer walk with the same heaviness because you know you are guided. Tonight may be the beginning of that rhythm for you, the opening of your inner ear to a song that has always been playing. Do not be afraid if the sign feels small. Remember that a seed is small, but it holds the power of a forest. Heaven often speaks in seeds. The meaning grows with time, with reflection, with trust. Tonight's seed may seem ordinary now, but later it may bloom into a truth that reshapes everything. Trust the small beginnings. Trust the gentle nudges. Trust the timing. For heaven wastes nothing. So as you step into the quiet of this night, breathe with intention. Feel the stillness around you. Pay attention not only to what happens outside you, but also to what stirs within. Both are languages of the divine. Tonight, heaven will send you a sign, and when it arrives, it will not be random. It will be yours, personal, purposeful, perfect for this moment in your journey. There comes a point when you realize that the sign itself is only half the story, and the other half is what you do with it. Tonight, when heaven places a message before you, it is not simply to comfort you for a moment. It is to awaken something deeper, to activate a truth that has been waiting inside you. A sign is like a mirror. It shows you a reflection of what is possible. What you choose to do with that reflection becomes the unfolding of your path. Think of how a traveler moves through unfamiliar terrain. Without a map, they may wander in circles. But even a single marker along the road, a stone, a tree, a lantern can orient them. That marker does not carry them to their destination. It only shows them where to place their next step. In the same way, the sign you receive tonight will not solve every problem or answer every question at once. Instead, it will orient you. It will point your inner compass toward the direction that aligns with your soul. And that direction is enough, because one step taken in trust will always lead to another. It is also true that the more you acknowledge signs, the more frequent they become. This is not because life suddenly changes, but because your perception does. Your awareness sharpens, your heart opens wider, your spirit leans closer. Soon you no longer see life as random, but as woven with threads of meaning. You begin to understand that you are walking through a world alive with communication, a sacred dialogue between the seen and unseen. Tonight may be the turning point when you step into that awareness more fully, when you shift from wondering if signs exist to knowing they surround you. You may wonder why heaven chooses to speak in this way. Why not appear in clear form with unmistakable words? The reason is that signs require participation. They invite you to lean in, to reflect, to engage your heart and not only your eyes. If the message were always direct and undeniable, you would not grow. But when it comes as a whisper, as a symbol, as a nudge, you are drawn into deeper trust, into listening beyond the surface. Heaven does not hide to confuse you. It hides to refine you, to make your awareness stronger and your connection more intimate. And so when your sign comes tonight, let it meet you as you are. Do not try to force its meaning. Do not demand that it look a certain way. Simply be open. Whether it arrives through silence, through nature, through another person, or through a sudden stirring in your own heart, receive it with gratitude. Let it speak in its own language. Trust that it will carry the meaning you need. Even if you do not yet understand it, you will know the sign because it will feel different from ordinary thoughts. It will carry a weight, a glow, a resonance that lingers. It will not pass by like background noise. It will stay with you. Perhaps it will make your heart race, or bring tears to your eyes, or quiet your mind with sudden peace. Whatever form it takes, you will recognize it not because it is loud, but because it is true. Truth always leaves an imprint on the soul. And once you have received it, carry it forward. Signs are not meant to be left behind. They are meant to guide you into the days ahead. Let it shape your choices, steady your doubts, remind you of your worth. Return to it when the path feels uncertain. For the sign you notice tonight is not just for this moment. It is for the moments to come, the ones where you will need to remember that you are never abandoned. Above all, let this night remind you that heaven is closer than you imagine. The distance you sometimes feel is an illusion. The reality is that you are surrounded by care, watched by love, guided by wisdom far greater than your own. The sign you will see tonight is proof of that nearness. It is the touch of the unseen on your visible life. It is the reminder that you belong to something infinite, something luminous, something eternal. So stay awake to the mystery. Watch with patience, listen with openness, feel with trust. The night is alive, the heavens are speaking, and your soul is ready. Tonight, heaven will send you a sign. Watch closely, and when it comes, let it change you. The night you are stepping into is unlike any other, not because the stars will change their shape or the world will suddenly appear different, but because your awareness has shifted. You are entering this night prepared, expectant, ready to notice what many others may overlook. That readiness itself is sacred. It is as if your heart has lit a lamp in the window, signaling to heaven, I am awake, I am listening, I am ready. And heaven, seeing that light, responds. The sign you will receive tonight will not only be a message, it will be a meeting point. It will be where your longing and the divine presence touch. That touch is what gives the sign its power. It is not about the size of the event, but about the reality of the connection. You will know it because you will feel seen, as though the universe itself paused to speak your name. That sense of recognition is the true gift. You may be tempted, in the days to come, to question whether what you noticed was truly a sign. Doubt may whisper that it was just coincidence, just imagination. But remember, what matters most is not convincing your mind, but honoring your soul. If it stirred something deep within you, if it carried peace or clarity, if it made you feel less alone, then it was real. Signs live not in arguments, but in resonance. Trust the resonance. And know this, tonight's sign is not the last. It is the continuation of a dialogue that has been happening since the first moment of your existence. You have always been watched over, always been guided, always been part of a design greater than you can see. Tonight is simply a reminder of what has always been true. Once you open your heart to this awareness, you will begin to see signs everywhere, not because heaven suddenly began to speak, but because you finally learned how to listen. Carry that listening into tomorrow and the day after, and every moment forward. Let it change the way you walk through the world. Where others see randomness, you will see alignment. Where others see silence, you will hear whispers. Where others see emptiness, you will sense presence. This is the transformation that begins tonight, not only receiving one sign, but learning to live in a world alive with meaning. As this chapter closes, take a breath. Feel the weight of the night around you, not as emptiness, but as fullness. Heaven is not distant, it is here, leaning close, offering guidance in ways both subtle and profound. The sign you are about to receive is proof of that nearness, a thread connecting you to the infinite. Hold it with reverence. Let it anchor you. Let it remind you again and again that you are not walking this path alone. Tonight, heaven will send you a sign. Watch closely. Let it come. Let it speak. Let it stay with you. And may it guide you into the days ahead, with courage, with peace, and with the unshakable knowledge that you are deeply, endlessly loved.